For people listening and wondering, because you said it's a 1 day in out procedure type of thing, can you go through precisely what someone would experience if they were to work with you?
Absolutely. So the first thing is that you would come to us. You'd have an initial consultation, and then we do most, unless they're based in locations where one of our team members is based, which is L.A., San Francisco, one in London, one in Europe, London. We would have to, and we have one in Florida now as well. Unless they're based in those locations, we do everything by tele. The initial stuff is telemedicine
Hmm.
or sort of via video call. So we have an initial consultation, and that starts off when we give the sort of layouts of where we can and can't go. If they're happy with that, we then go to a full analysis where we record the calls, we do a full interview. There's a series of set questionnaires they have to fill out. They have to do a series of blood tests, and we then analyze that. And a lot of the information that we get is from speaking to people directly.
Yeah.
There's just so many things that are missed on paper that you can see, just small details. And we have within our team, we have three biologists. We have one doctor. We have a former dancer stroke physical fitness therapist. So we have the whole range. And most of them are all in their sort of more advanced stages, so they have experiences in the right demographic. So then once they have that and they have the analysis, if they decide to proceed with us, we then put them into the fertility fitness program.
Mhm.
And that's 90 days minimum. Now, depending on what you require, it could just be once a month, you speak to us, but we give you a series of diet and exercise routines. And we have like something like a diet, which I printed something up to show you. We have like a menu that we create like this. You can stick on your fridge with like some background information like that.
Hmm.
And what that does is it gives you ideas of we have either a plant heavy menu or meat heavy menu, depending on what's required.
Yeah.
And that will give you an idea. We don't say you have to eat this food because that takes away from your Freudenspanner. You're like, if you feel like you're a lab rat, it's not going to be as much fun. I mean, obviously, maybe someone's got a kink for that, but I doubt most people do, right? But yeah. So basically, we want to keep it as simple as possible with guidelines because we're not giving you fish. We're we're showing you how to fish. It's a big difference.
Yes.
And so that's the 90 days. And what we then do is then once you get going, we then have to take your exosomes from your blood, which actually takes quite a bit of time because most spins take 30 seconds to 2 minutes, depending. The spins that we have to do with your blood on centrifuge spins, that is
Yes.
about 95 to 100 minutes.
Oh, wow.
It's
And that's
huge.
for the exosomes.
That's for the exosomes because we have
Yeah.
to, not all exosomes are created equal, and we have to get the right amount, the right way, and the right sizes. And then we apply that. So that takes about 2 to 3 weeks to do. You have to
Mhm.
process it, you have to test it for illnesses and diseases, and then we have to have it shipped directly to the clinic. So
Yes.
it's part of that. So that takes about 3 weeks in total, not in think of it like sending off your passport. It doesn't take long to stamp it, but you just getting it
Right.
back.
Right.
And then what happens then is you then go once that's all done, and that what the beauty about that is it's also about the process, about the quality of the service. So you know that you're getting yourself ready, you're preparing for this, and rather than you're preparing because you're going to a hospital and you're sitting in a gown and you wait for 5 days and you come in and out, you're at home and you know that once you start the blood work, you have the countdowns coming, so you can take it nice and smoothly. And then the procedure itself, as I said, is about a 1 hour procedure. But you'd go to, depending on the locations where you go to, but you'd fly into the closest airport, and then you're driven to your hotel the night before. You check in, last minute paperwork. You speak to the surgeon. So you know what's going to happen the next day,
Mhm.
and then the following morning you arrive at 9 a.m. I'd say 9 a.m. It could be 8:30, it could be 9:15, whatever, whatever. But 9 a.m. You go in and you go straight into the procedure. We put you into the operating theatre. We extract your stem cell. We put you under anaesthetic, very, as I said, low injectable anaesthetic. We then take out the stem cells.
Is that from
Whilst
hip bone marrow? Right.
exactly from the hip bone marrow and mesenchymal stem cells, we don't do adipose tissue; it's not strong enough.
Yeah.
And we then centrifuge out the right size and the right type of stem cells that we do. It doesn't take long to do. We then mix it together with our other blood products that we have. There is no foreign material. There's no pegs, no polyethylene glycol. There's none of that. It's all your own bodily material. Now, on the assumption that you don't have a genetic predisposition, again, this is why we do the testing.
Sure.
That you're basically just putting cleaned up best stem cells that you have, right, back into your body. And then we inject it into the ovaries, and then that's it. There's two surgical procedures that we have at the moment, depending on the clinic, although the clinics are going to have standardized eventually. One is the laparoscopic procedure, which is a tiny cut.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is transvaginal, which is no cuts, which is far less invasive, much better. Well, it's not better. It's more advanced in many ways, and that's the one we use. Also, ironically, is cheaper. Ironically, well, there's not as much anesthetic required, so that way, and it's also quicker. So that's the one that we use. It goes in, you're out, and then you'll be awake after about an hour, and then you just have a glass of water, and then you do a checkout. You go back to your hotel, which is right next door, for the night. Just in case there's some reaction, just in case something's wrong, we're right on call. It's right there, and then the following morning you're free to leave. So technically, it's 2 nights, but it's a very simple outpatient procedure, and that's what we do. And then after that, you then have an assigned consultant for 9 months, and we monitor you for 9 months. So every 3 weeks, you do certain blood tests. After 4.5 months, you do a bone density scan. And then finally, you also do some other gut biome things as well, depending on who you are at the beginning, because a lot of these things are dependent on what you start off with. And at the end of 9 months, that's it. We don't monitor you after that. You do have access, though. We have something called Vent Box. So what we discovered is that every 5 minutes, people are calling us up wanting pieces of stuff. And we're like, it's not working. We have a team of 5 to 6 specialists. We just are overloaded. We just can't cope with that.
Yeah.
So what we said is, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to give you a vent box. You can call up a number which is personalized to you, and you can shout, you can scream down it, you can do whatever you want. And we're not.
We all need one.
Yeah, we all need one. We're not going to probably listen to it because we don't have time, but if we see anomalies in your blood work, which we've discovered with a few of our patients, and then we go, and we cross-reference to that date, we look at the and we discover that this person's venting about their credit rating was screwed and they tried to buy a car and they couldn't get this, and they're like, there's a spike in cortisol, and this is quite interesting. So we not that I'm saying you should be venting all the time, but we have these poems. So there's a lot of little data points that we're collecting that we analyze that procedure afterwards. And so the other thing we have is that we're developing now that we're getting a larger community is something called it's called the Wise Women Corner, but we'll probably change it to the Wise People Corner for gender equality at some point in the future. But the point is that you can talk to other people who've gone through the procedure. Now, whether you're the person who's gone through it or the partner of the person who's gone through it, you're obviously on the inner circle, so it's not anyone. Not anyone can join it, but you can discuss things once you've been through it, and that's very interesting because it allows you to have a self-help group is not the right word, but a community base. Now, back to what we're saying with aging and longevity and long communities, about social interaction. It's about social structure. So that's what we do. So that's the overview of the procedure. So it's not that much in terms of being in a hospital, but there's a lot of monitoring afterwards, and there's a lot of preamble to that. And as you know, like we said with the marathon, it's not just it's not just the run itself, it's all the prep beforehand and the prep afterwards, the relaxation afterwards. So that's basically the procedure as is. Yeah.
Yeah, no, super simple if you're one day in and out, and it is true that you're going to, of course, have to do the work before and afterwards to do it.